Welcome to the GPLama YouTube channel and welcome to Shanghai, China for the China Cycle Expo 2025. I'll be here for the next few days, 4 of them, that the show is on, to look at what's new, what's on show, and of course with a bias towards the technology that I cover. Head units, power meters, smart trainers, if there's any. Oh, actually, there's smart trainers just behind me now. And the typical stuff that you see on this channel. Also attending here this week is Luke from Tace Velo. Keep an eye out for his content, as well as Joe from Panda Podium. Now, Joe from pandapodium.cc and China Cycle is hosting us this week, so a big shout out to Panda Podium for what they do. You'll see a lot of them in my videos this week. If you're not familiar with Panda Podium, they attend events like this. They're feet on the ground here in China, being China-based, and they'll pick and choose the best of what they can find here to offer up on their website and make these products accessible to the rest of the world. They'll handle the support, the warranty, the shipping, all the stuff, so you don't have to worry about it yourself. So, big shout out to pandapodium.cc for what they do and for sponsoring a video like this. YouTubers helping YouTubers, I absolutely love it. All right, this show has been underway for only 6 minutes. There is a lot to cover. And I'm like a kid in a candy store. I absolutely love these shows. You never know what you're going to find. I've got a big list of things to get through this week. But keep an eye out for my content, Luke's content, Joe's content, and everyone else's here as well. If there's anything that you see posted online, any other tech blogs that you want a closer look at, let me know in the comments below. I'll have a look around. But for now, let's get into it. Oh my word, I can't wait. Okay, let's explain the thumbnail first by starting off with Falco. Now, they made some very interesting time trial bikes with very busy front ends, but, well, all I can say is Puma bike. Just Puma bike. I've seen nothing like this with its built-in arse saver, the Puma's tail. Got quite a number of looks today, quite a few posts online about this. But Puma bike's only half built. Doesn't even have any brakes. Okay, back into the real equipment over at Rotor/WheelTop. WheelTop now own the Rotor brand. Few observations from here. Carbon fibre cranks from WheelTop. Keen to see how this partnership/merge will work. Don't think Rotor ever made that many types of carbon cranks. They did make carbon cranks, but not that many. Anyhow, onto bike computers. Just quickly grabbing my attention here, some bike computers on the WheelTop stand. Very early on in the day, these weren't even turned on, but something I did note that they had a lot more products added to their lineup. Caught this just outside 2025 Cycling Esports competition. I knew nothing of this before going in. This is head-to-head, team against team, I believe red versus blue, here in the outdoor room. It's outdoors, it's separate from the rest of the show. But I'm guessing this is going to get pretty heated, literally early on. From the show, people are warming up here on Cyplus T2 trainers. Now, the T2 trainer was a very, very common sight at the show. Speaking of trainers, Elite and the AVANTI on this stand here. Another AVANTI. No sign of the Justo 2 and no sign of the Square either. Seca or Seeker. Not about the bikes. I had a look at the Powbox. Couldn't find a single hit on the web for Powbox. It just caught my eye, not the bike itself. I'm sure Joe or Luke will cover the bikes, but interesting stuff. Couldn't get anywhere near the Winspace bikes. Absolutely packed stands today. Couldn't get close. I'll return another day. RideNow, always interesting, always something on show here. TPU tubes, electric pumps, rim tape, you name it. What caught my eye though was, well, not that thing there in the top left, but all their recycled products, including their shoes. I don't recall seeing the shoes in Taipei a few weeks back, made from recycled TPU tubes. Super light. I think these would be comfortable. I really do. Not much heel support though. could be a problem. Anyhow, I got some glow-in-the-dark tubes as well. I'll show those tomorrow. Titanium soles. I don't know what to think of those. Interesting idea though, I guess. Now, I asked Joe how to pronounce this. Joe told me how to pronounce it. I forgot. But these guys made an interesting looking TT frame, and while I was looking at this setup, I noticed their crankset, and lo and behold, Spider power meter. Standard specs on this, plus or minus 1%. Nothing really jumps out at me at this Spider power meter. However, they do have one, they do have an offering, and quite a few companies now are offering power meters as part of their cranksets. Nice blinged up bike here. This is 360. We're on show. If you've ever wondered how people capture those 360 cam shots, here's how they do it. And yes, it does affect the handling of your bike, hanging a weight that far out the back of your bike and off the handlebars. This is the new X5 with the replaceable lenses, released for a few days back, I believe. But the upgrade there is replaceable lenses and better performance in low light. Okay, back to bike stuff, and no, wait a minute, not bike stuff, karaoke. Similar. Van Rysel have a mock-up wind tunnel. Actually, Van Rysel have a pretty good presence here at the show. But not a real wind tunnel, just a bit of a showpiece. And if that chainring looks big for a SRAM group set, yes, it is. It's a 54, which caught my eye because typically I think there are 48. NEXGA, from a number of people who used to work for XKD, now making this power meter. And yes, what you're seeing there is true. A spider-based power meter with USB-C recharge. Comes in all the mount options for modular cranks and different BCDs. Stay tuned for a review on this when they're ready to send one over. NEXGA. On to Sentyeh. Lots of group set companies here. This one caught my eye because, well, you can probably guess why. Does that look like something? It feels like something too. Does it look like something from the top? It does indeed. It doesn't have it's got a hole there for the hidden button, but doesn't actually have any auxiliary hidden buttons. Look, this is a very, very close replica to the SRAM Red E1 group set. Here's the rest of the Sentyeh. Trace Velo or China Cycling may have a closer look at this in particular. I was just keen to have a look at the lever itself. This is definitely different. The paddle style shifting, look, I'll call it out. It's very clunky looking paddle shifting. But the ergonomics of the hoods, very, very much like SRAM Red E1, which we're all hoping will be SRAM Force E1 soon. They're definitely a high pivot point, nice easy pull. A little thinner though on the hood than the E1s, but that clicker, that double paddle clicker, not for my liking, but how about that? Garmin, not much of a presence here, but they did have all their equipment on show. The Tax Neo 3M, Neobike Plus, not running their own training software. They're running Zwift in the background there. 1050, 840 Solar, Rally, everything else there. The Varia View had a bit of a advert here, but it was also mounted on the bike on the stand there. So there's the Varia view. I have one of these at home on the bike. My recent testing of the tracker radar was using that as my front camera. So it does pretty well. That's there on show. More about that in the future. Not only about things, it's also about testing. I was happy to see these guys here. Joe knows this team well.
So we are doing internal tests for the cycling cyclists, also the equipment.
There we go, wind tunnel test for the cycling cyclist. Overfast, who I absolutely love that logo, doing Thru-Axles made out of carbon fibre held by a stormtrooper. Jeep, logo looks like Jeep. Trademark looks like Jeep. Products don't look like Jeep. Jeep. Not sure if that's official or not. It has to be. Jonas is walking around. Bit of work to do before the tour there, mate. You'll lose those kilos though. Just keep walking. Now, big theme of the show is these guys. Now, people tell me they're not influencers. They are doing real-time sales, online influencing. Not only is there one, there's two. Out of nowhere comes another influencer. These guys have a true skill of talking non-stop about whatever it is they're fluencing. iGPSport, very difficult to get near this stand today. They were doing giveaways, and that brings in the people like nothing else. But iGPSport, the Binavi, I think we touched on that from the Taipei cycle. iGPSport, I have one of these little SR minis. Under testing, the initial firmware was very junky. I haven't got out with the newer firmware though on my radar death loop. Stay tuned for that in the very near future, but a very small form factor. These guys here had a whole wall full of orcas or killer whales, I think, or actually blue whales. I couldn't work out why. It's their light. It kind of looks like a whale. Lots of lights here on show of all shapes and sizes, and obviously, as you see here, one that looks like a whale. They also had a rear saddlebag with a light that bounced. Wait, mate, second go, always a charm. Rear light that mounts into the saddlebag. Don't mind that idea. I'm more of a radar person. UniSky. Blast from the past here. Look, let's call this what it is. That's 25 years ago. Fluid trainers. These, on the other hand, they're smart trainers. I didn't get any detail whatsoever. I was just passing by. Some interesting design smart trainers here. This one in particular was, well, it had to be electromagnetic, but it was also wind. You can see the fans in there. That would make one hell of a noise. They asked me if I wanted to have a go. I had a quick meeting to get to. Okay, so half-day check-in. We're 2.5 hours into the show. I've done most halls. A few of them I've walked through. Unfortunately, it's absolutely bucketing down with rain. So the test course they have here, which is huge for demo bikes, isn't in use. Tomorrow's meant to be a better day for weather, so hopefully we can get out and ride some bikes around on that demo track. Early take on the show, it's massive, that's a given. Lots and lots of attendees here, more than Eurobike, more than just B2B. Now I know it's more than just B2B because when there's a giveaway here, the lines are massive. Some booths I can't even get near. Winspace, iGPSport, there were a few others that were doing giveaways and the general public are just woof, straight in. I think the 5th is a public holiday over here. Not quite up to speed on my public holidays here in China. That could explain though why there's just the general public here. We'll see tomorrow, I'm not quite sure. Anyhow, overall, just a reminder, I guess, these shows aren't for YouTubers to come along and make entertainment for. These shows are put together so manufacturers can sell their shit. That's exactly what it's about. So the fact that we can cover this, if it's entertaining, that's a bonus. But yeah, just it's not an entertainment show. But I guess we're all bike nerds and we like seeing what's new anyway. One thing of note here that's been different to the other shows is that when a company sells a light, they don't just sell one light or two lights. No, there's about 50 lights lined up. They don't just sell one e-pump or two e-pumps. No, there's about 10 different e-pumps all lined up. That's for the B2B side of things. I guess if companies want to come along and choose what best suits them, their market, there's a global market here. Well, I think it's still a global market. I haven't checked the news lately. Anyhow, that's not my wheelhouse, thank Christ. I'm here looking at just what's the tech. You know, what can we ride? What can we choose to ride? And there's a lot of stuff here. All right, that's a half-day check-in done. We'll continue on this afternoon. We'll look around. A few people have stopped me and said hi. That was great. Always good to hear where people are from. But, all right, it's getting busy again. Must be near lunchtime. Back soon. More influencing. These guys go hard. He seemed a bit angry about the helmet, I don't know. Anyhow, COOSPO or COOSPO on show here with some power meter pedals, rechargeable with the pod here. Look, Kia compatible, all the standard specs, so plus or minus 1%, 120-hour battery, Bluetooth amp plus, cadence, left-right balance, you name it. Still samples at the moment, not ready for release, no indication of pricing. I let them know that I'd happily test them if they can get me a set of these. While I was at the stand, I also noticed they had, wait for it, oh, more pedals. Sorry, it must be the next frame. Look,
You did a lot of review about China and the power.
As I was saying, radar. They've got a radar. Standard specs on the radar, 140 meters. And standard mounts. What sort of mount does it use? So flip it over.
Okay.
Close enough. It's quarter turn. Always concerning when the stand doesn't actually mount the radar correctly either. That wouldn't work too well out in the road pointing to the ground. However, if I can get a hold of one of these, we'll put it to the test. They also have a head unit, which scrolled sideways with, I was going to say relative ease, it wasn't. Plus, the makers of the T2 that we saw all throughout the show, their smart bike, but not only their smart bike, they had a lot of accessories on show too, including cadence sensor, radar light, heart rate strap, optical strap, bike computer, another bike computer, crankset, spider power meter, and multiple e-pumps. Looping back to their T7 radar, pretty light unit. From what I've heard, it's creative with its ability to work or not. I'll get a hold of one, we'll put it through its test. Rear lights, yes. Now, if you've ever had a problem with a non-Speedy Peach, here is a solution to a non-Speedy Peach. It's Speedy Peach. Speedy Peach. I don't even know what to voice over for this. These are little happy logos and lights and things in the back of the helmet. Okay, they just caught my eye. They look pretty cool. One size fits one, I guess. Not one size fits all. No ability to change the saddle height there. Over to Magene. Now, this is interesting. I went to the Magene launch yesterday. They introduced a few new products. I'll focus on just a few of them today, starting off with the C706 bike computer, China market only. And they have quite a list of features on the 706. Again, China market only, so we won't be seeing this outside of China just yet. Obviously, what you heard there is the bell. They have Climb Pro real-time in free ride. They have, let me just pull up this slide here of just a number of the new hero features they're going to be seeing, or we're going to be seeing on the C706. Great bezel to screen ratio. Pretty responsive screen, but a big step up from Magene. I'm hoping to see this hit the market maybe 12 months, maybe 18 months, we'll see, for the rest of the world. But some really innovative things with this unit scene. Also, you can customize it with a light, 13 colors, I believe, that little halo light. Anyway, more on that when we get more info. Power meter pedals from Magene. We all knew these were coming. The P715K for Keo and the P715S for Shimano. Plus or minus 1%, 120 hours, Bluetooth Amp Plus. You know the deal. Pretty stock standard for all power meters these days. If I can get myself a set of those SPDSLs, I will be very keen to check them out. Also, the upgrade of the P505, the P515, I believe bringing that spider-based power meter to sub 100 grams. Again, I believe I have one of those sitting at home waiting for me to test. Wahoo also here on show with all their trainer lineup and all the 3 elements, which are released tomorrow, May 6th. On the retail market, if not before, if you're lucky, according to a few people posting on Reddit. Ravman or Raveman, known for these modular clip-in, clip-out lights here on show, but what caught my eye was another radar. Now, I don't believe it's ready yet, just a production sample, again, as a lot of them are. Very similar in weight, waterproofing, distance detection, and the mount is its own mini quarter turn. A couple of products here, not usually in my wheelhouse, but it's an AirTag holder, and I do love hiding an AirTag or 2 on a bike. One here under the bell. That's where the AirTag will go. Obviously, they're not going to put AirTags on the stand here. AirTag under the stem cap. And their other products has the Find My network built in right here, like we see for a few other pieces of bike tech, which I think is a great idea. SRAM here on show, putting a road bike up a hill. Wait, up a hill. Wait, it. Anyhow, SRAM here on show. Nothing new yet for these guys. Stay tuned. There's rumors floating around everywhere from SRAM. Finitix. This, another radar here, caught my eye. Very light, very compact, very small, and very much a production sample, so I can't get a hold of one just yet. They have my details. We'll grab a hold of this. We'll put it through the radar test death loop. Oh, it's getting late. USB-C and quarter turn mount if I can get this off with one hand. Yeah, yes. But its own interesting mount. Anyhow, another radar from a brand I haven't heard of before. So we'll see if we can get a hold of one of these. That is super compact. And finally, to finish up the day, some kids that can't be any more than 10 years old, ripping up this ramp indoors and having a ball. Definitely pulled the crowd. Tearing it up. Good job, kids. Alrighty, we'll call it a day there for day one of China Cycle 2025 here in Shanghai. It has been quite the day. There is a lot here. Is it bigger than Eurobike? I think it's going to be very close, but it's definitely a different show to Eurobike. A lot more B2B, a lot more OEM manufacturers here. But given it was a day off, it was very, very, very busy. One thing that's quite unique about this show as well is a lot of the salespeople will be in your face as you walk past. This is my second take of trying to do the outro, as I just got completely hassled by a company trying to sell something. There's a line, some cross it, some don't, but that's what they're here to do. They're here to sell their shit. Some of it's pretty good shit too. Anyhow, oh, by the way, all the big brands are here. Giant, Shimano, SRAM, they're all here. But that's not what we're here for. We cover those in all the other shows. And there's nothing much new from those companies anyhow. What is new though is everything else we're looking at. So anyway, it's not just all sort of lesser known brand stuff here. Big players are here too. Anyhow, we'll call it a day there. Go check out Trace Velo's stuff. Luke's walking around. his first time at a big trade show like this. I'm keen to hear his take on things. Joe from Panda Podium, again, thanks to Joe and the crew for sponsoring this video and showing us around and being great hosts for the week. And yeah, see you tomorrow. There's a lot more to cover.